Martin Muses. Welcome to Miss Martin Muses, where we muse upon what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Well, today we're going to talk about something that makes me so happy. It's my boys, Pug and Thomas, and all the cool characters from Magician Apprentice. I am, as always, joined by Rennie.
Good morning, Teresa. Good morning, Steve. Hope you guys are doing well today.
Oh, I'm a was it a happy chappy, as someone on this panel is known to have said. The coronation was this morning, and I got to hear the debut of Andrew Lloyd Webber's new setting of Psalm 98. So that was a thrill for me, and they're officially going to be releasing it today for purchase. It was amazing. He is my favorite living composer, more than John Williams. Sorry. So it was amazing to get to hear that piece of music, and I hope to buy it actually, but I digress. Speaking of King Charles's coronation, apparently he claims he wasn't there, but I found someone heavy in disguise sitting next to Andrew Lloyd Webber at the coronation. It is all the way from the future, allegedly from Norway, the one, the only, the Viking himself, Steve Kenobi.
Hi, I'm doing quite scrumptious. I hope you ladies are doing well as well.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yes, sir.
Thank you for taking time from the reception to come talk to us.
I know your father invited to that reception, but nonetheless, I am a happy chappy.
The crack I've had is caffeine, just to disclose. So you guys know.
Yeah, actually, I'll show you what I'm going to have for breakfast.
Actually, you know what? That lesbian can make a lot of money because she can sell her crack and sell her crack and wash it.
Sell both cracks.
Oh my goodness. I was about ready to talk about this marvelous breakfast that's coming from DoorDash. It's got kale, it's got avocado.
Shrimps?
Shrimps? No. Oh gosh. Oh, you're terrible. Okay. Look at us, number 1 and number 2, says Jacob Ironside. Yay, Jacob, it's always great to see you. Thank you. Yeah, you're going to get a DM from me probably later today or something, because something's going to be happening. Actually, that sounded very mysterious and weird. It's actually not as bad as it sounds, as good as it sounds, or whatever. Sort of Pubis Kuber, hello, humans and other critters. Why, hello. It's always good to see you here. We love our animals here at Miss Martin Muses. Yes, we do indeed, precious. There's Rennie. She finally showed up. No, Keck44 saying howdy. Hello. So good to see you. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you. Wait, Sword Poopus, that was a nasty crack. Oh my gosh. Sword Poopus is having his iceberg towed further north. I endorse that.
I saw that. It's melting. So I saw this little Eskimo with a canoe dragging an iceberg with a polar bear on it this morning. It was probably him.
Oh, there you go. There you are. Gosh, I have not slept barely at all. You know, I had graduation last night and then coronation this morning. So I'm going on fumes. Yes, I am. But oh gosh, that's a good one, sort of poop. All right. Well, these chapters, is hitting the metaphorical fan. Rennie, can you give us some impressions of what was going on?
Well, I don't know if I want to give too much away, but in this first chapter, we meet a new character, which is pretty cool. And then people get some kind of cool stuff from it as well. And then we learn about another upcoming character, which is cool. And some stuff is going to happen in chapter 14 that's a little cray-cray. So I am looking forward to discussing that. But definitely a lot more intriguing than the last few chapters for me, anyways. So
there's a lot of build up in this book.
Yes,
definitely. But because now we have internal stuff happening as well, not just an invasion.
Yeah.
And I love it, and it's so much fun rereading this and seeing how masterfully he put it together.
And this is his first book.
It's amazing.
He hadn't written any books before this. This is his first outing.
Well, it's very detailed and intricate for sure.
Yeah. and
Mhm.
it branches out a bit, kind of like the first Game of Thrones book did.
Okay.
Mhm.
You know, because you at the beginning there's like, well, an invasion from the north, isn't it, with the White Walkers, right? And
Hmm.
then it kind of the issues with the royal family and all of that, and it just branches out. It doesn't branch out as much as Game of Thrones, though. It doesn't get that complex at all.
Yeah.
But
And somebody finished his series.
yeah, and there's also a trilogy of books that takes place from the Surani point of view
Mm.
during this book, which is kind
Yeah.
of cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lots of stuff. It took him like 30 years to finish it all.
Yeah,
Dang.
Yeah. So
and he
yeah.
finished it well. Boy, did he ever!
Mhm. Yeah, I still don't know how it ends. I'm still on book like, I don't know, 17 or something. It's
He,
crazy.
he he
But
added a little bit of tidbits here and there that he knew the fans wanted too,
mhm.
or rather that the fans wanted a conclusion to.
Yeah. He listened. Imagine that. Yeah. So
Yeah,
if you have not been reading, everybody, if you have not been reading this series, I cannot recommend it enough, especially because we know that it's about to be most likely butchered. So you want to experience it the way it's supposed to be
yeah.
experienced.
Two, well, the one after the magician duology,
Hmm.
is basically a quest book. So it's three people going on a quest.
Yeah.
That's it. There's nothing complex about it. It's just an adventure story.
And
You
it's
know.
romantic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome. And the
Yeah.
one after that is, well, shit. I don't remember. I haven't read that one since the '90s. But
Oh, that one is amazing. It's got loads of battles and stuff and yeah, all that stuff. But we digress. Let's start with what we have right here. We're beginning with frack. Okay, understand that I might be a little crazy. Did we start with chapter 11 or chapter? No, it's chapter 10.
10.
Oh my gosh, chapter 10. So let's get this up here where our boys were oh no, our boy rather was lost. No, rather.
well,
Thomas.
no,
No,
before that,
not yet, Thomas. Yeah, before that, my fault.
there
Pug.
was Pug and Company first.
Yes, you are
Yeah,
correct.
that's
Pug and Company. All right, we'll get to my boy. I just love my boy so much. Okay, but the other boy I love, Pug. He's fighting tears, and a dispirited group emerged from the mine, and Arutha kind of goes over and is like, "Hey, Pug, how you doing?" And it says this was the first time Pug had seen Arutha's gentle nature, and he let him cry and held him. So you see this really cool bonding that happened between them. Gosh. And then, of course, Dolgan sitting there being a badass dwarf around the fire and puffing on a pipe. It's just good stuff. Some really good character moments. And then then Colgan's like, he's going to go back after Thomas. And Bork's like, this mad dwarf means to return to the mines. And he's like, if I can find his trail, I can find him. I'll bring him home if he lives. On this, you have the word of Dolgan Targarson, chief of the village Caldera. And I'm like, you go, you go. So there's this really cool thing where you see his tracking skills as he finds Thomas's trail. And I mean, this is where I have to give credit to Stieg, who always says that the dwarves are the superior race.
Yeah, in not so much in Tolkien because he's more focused on the elves,
Mm-hmm.
but in other fantasy books like the Shannara trilogy, the dwarven characters stood out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in the first book, Hendel pretty much stole the show a lot of the time.
Yeah, true point. So Dolgan showed his quality. And speaking of showing his quality, Matt, thank you. We have bacon. Matt G brought the bacon. Gosh darn it, man. We endorse bacon here at Miss Martin Muses. And actually, DoorDash is also bringing me a side of bacon along with my
Yay.
kale and all that stuff. Yay. Not the millionaire bacon, but just normal bacon. And in any case, dwarves. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Jacob Ironside says dwarves even made it to 40K.
Yeah, Warhammer 40K.
Nice. Yeah. So, anyways, so he does some badass tracking, and then comes upon like the last thing he expects to see. It's like this big door. It's all fancy, and on a big pile of coins with gems the size of a man's fist is Thomas eating a fish, and there's a wagon, and then there's a fracking great dragon. He's like, what the hell? And of course, he said those are Drovenfolk's most feared hereditary enemy. He's like, what kind of manner of wizardry is this? And the dragon goes, come into my home, dwarf, and I will tell thee. I love this dragon. And Rennie, you were saying something about this dragon that you just got to know him, and then
Yes. You know, we get to know him for half a second, and yeah, that's pretty much it. It's kind of sad, but he was kind of cool because, you know, you go into it thinking, okay, Thomas is possibly in danger, or he made a deal with the dragon and Dolgan's in danger, and that's just not the case.
No, it was just friendly.
Yeah, because he met a really cool dude that taught him that humans weren't all bad.
Yep. Exactly. Oh my gosh. And there was a cute moment also where the dragon was like, is this a dragon here? Because he was smoking his pipe, and he thought the smoke that he thought he was a tiny little dragon, because he realized that he was blind. The dragon's blind. And the idea that the dragons long have had magic, dragon magicians. Holy crap, I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Dragon sorcerers.
Yeah, and he
Well,
says,
if you think about it, in this world, it makes sense because it's about, spells are about gestures and speaking, magical words, right? Well, if a dragon can speak, then
I had a hard time with the pronunciation of his name. How do you guys say the dragon's name?
I don't remember what it was.
It's Rhuagh.
Arog?
Ruag?
Ruag. I call him Ruag, but
Okay.
I don't know if that's correct.
Yeah, I thought Ruag as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
Or Ruig, if it fuck. Edge. Sorry. I'm trying to be a better person. It's not working. But yeah, and then they tell us a lot of lore, and this is just awesome lore about the dragon lords and the legends. And they said they were our masters and we were their servants, as were the elves and the Moradel. We became the most powerful of the free time in a time before dwarves or men came to these lands. Ours was dominion over the sky and over all things. And ages ago, men and dwarves came to our mountains. For a time, we lived in peace. And men and dwarves, and then there was like a big old war. The elves drove the Mordrel from the forest, called Elvendar, and men and dwarves warred with the dragons. And the local gnomes think he's a god, so they like bring him food and all those shiny things.
Yeah, he didn't even have to go hunting. It's like, heck yeah. Go ahead and leave it at my feet. I'll eat it later.
And if you think about how huge that dragon is, and then that some dragons could even use magic.
Yeah.
Humans becoming dragon lords by enslaving them, basically, that's high level.
Pretty much.
So those dragon lords are or were kick ass. It's heavy metal as fuck, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I thought it was interesting that he referred to his species as his people. He's like, my people. I thought that was an interesting, I don't know if I would call it a pronoun, but an interesting word to use instead of, my fellow dragons or, our species. He said, my people. So.
Yeah. Oh. And then we learned that maybe Thomas wasn't as lucky as he thought he was. He says, I aided the boy. Um, I'm sorry, what does he say? By magic, I could turn away those who sought this treasure. That is why I sent them far and why I aided the boy, for he is undeserving of harm. He says, I summoned Thomas to my side by magic arts so he might sit my death watch. And Thomas goes, what?
And it's
So,
like, oh man.
yeah, it's all man, but it's also that he was using that was why he was able to work like that. He was sensing that magic or something. That's what I got. He was saying, that he was calling to Thomas, and that's how Thomas found him.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Like, you're gonna die. We're sitting here eating fish, sitting on gold.
Yeah. And I guess it's like, from what I gather from what he was saying, like their death watch is a bit of a tradition, or, just basically the dragon way, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was interesting. And the fact that, humans don't typically do it, but he, asked Thomas to sit with him, I thought was pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. I thought it was great. And there's a lot of destiny going on here. And as he and Tom, gosh, everything he said, and as Thomas and Dolgan are sitting with the death watch, the dragon just told him everything, all the stories, tales of wonder and awe. And then said, once a man came to this place, a magician of mighty arts. He could not be turned from this place by my magic, nor could I slay him. For 3 days we battled, and he bested me. His only thought was, though, to learn my magic. Obviously, this is abridged. I'm going through some notes of mine. For 3 years, he stayed with me, and he learned all I could teach, but he taught as well. And because of him, I learned to respect life. The man had the art of healing the wounds of the heart and mind. So, and who was he? Macros. Dun, dun, dun. He is nearly a myth. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be seeing some more of that. And he left behind his rod. Oh gosh, you can't say anything in these fantasy books. Oh my gosh. It is a rod fashioned. Rennie, what's wrong with you? It's a
I
rod
have
fashioned
no
of
idea.
magic. Wilt thou bring it here?
And yeah, I wanted to be poked by it.
Touch me with your rod.
Oh, don't even. There was some of that in the coronation today.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
'Cause they had the rod of I don't know. Never mind. Okay, well, let's go with Sort of Poopus is going to bring us down to earth. I would use a breathy Welsh R sound, ugh, and a guttural G sound. But I'm a bear and my snout makes weird noises. I don't know Welsh pronunciation. If I were to do the Irish one, it would be rook. Terrible when people leave their rods lying about. Yes, yeah. And then you have to, then the person gets on the sexual offender registry. It's very, very awkward.
Yeah, people need to, the maidens and stuff need to bend over and grab it, pick it up, hold it aloft in their hands.
Hold thy rod.
Okay, bringing this also down to earth. Ruig says something really cool. He's like, I have a gift for thee, dwarf. Thou must take whatever here pleaseth thee. In the box with the, and then he goes, Thomas, thanks to thee for spending my last with me. In the box with the dwarf's gift is one for you. Take whatever else pleaseth thee also, for thou heart is good. And Dolgan extended the rod and lightly touched the dragon on the head with it. At first, nothing happened. Ruig said softly, it was Macros's last gift. And when I read this the first time, oh my gosh, I was just floored. And I was reading this in the swimming pool. I remember this very specifically. Because it was in the middle of summer. And he transforms. there was this great sound. His hide shone with golden sparkle, and the film started to lift from his eyes. He raised his head, and he knew he could see the hall around him. His crest stood erect, his wings lifted, showing rich silver sheen underneath. His yellow teeth became brilliant white, and his faded black claws shone like polished ebony. And Dolgan goes, "'Tis the grandest sight I've ever behold." And the light grew into intensity, and he pulled himself to his full impressive height. The dragon threw back his head with a shout of joy, sent a powerful blast of flame up to the high vaulted ceiling rather. With a roar like 100 trumpets, he shouted, "I thank thee, Macros! It is a princely gift indeed." And then they heard like this weird disembodied voice say, "You are welcome, friend." And Thomas was crying tears of joy from the sheer beauty. The dragon launched himself upward, wings extended, and vanished in a blinding flash of cold white light. Oh my gosh, how beautiful. Yes, it was cool.
I thought it was pretty cool because he was blind, and you know, the magic, I'm going to call it a magic wand, helped him to helped him to see again before he died, and he could make out the face because he didn't know what Thomas or what Golden looked like, Dolgan looked like. And it was kind of nice to see, okay, these are the people that sat with me, when I asked them to, and now I know their faces, and for him to get like a last, goodbye from Macros was kind of cool too. So
Yeah, the rod brought his life to a climax in all kinds of sparkles.
Here we have Riddy waxing poetic, and you just don't know how to behave yourself. Okay. So, anyways, Dolgan goes to the treasure box and gets a dwarven hammer, which he looked at with reverence. The head was made from a silver metal that shone in the lantern light. Carved oak. And I'm just imagining this gorgeous, beautiful dwarven.
Totally not mithril.
I know, that's what I was thinking too when I read this. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, oh my gosh, Jacob. We're all gonna. I'm not gonna read that aloud. Yes, you're right. You're right about that. Yes.
Yeah, it's just too much to come to grips with, sir.
And he's like, "This will cause rejoicing in every dwarven long hall throughout the West. It is a symbol of our last king, lost ages ago." And then Thomas sees a shield with the same device and a golden helm and a golden sword with a white hilt. And he goes, "Oh, take them, boy. The dragon said it was your gift. It is likely, the Tholan's hammer was a weapon of power in the oldest mines of these mountains. In it rests magic unsurpassed. It is likely the gilded armor and sword and are also such. It may be there is a purpose in their coming to you." Da da da. Yeah. I wonder. The armor, though, is surprisingly light, much lighter than what he had worn at Cryde. And then Thomas is like, "I don't feel like taking anything else. It doesn't feel right if I do so." And right away, something starts to happen with Thomas. He like gets the force or something, because as they're coming out, I think that they were going to be attacked, and Dolan's like, "Stay behind me," and all that. But then Thomas is able to like jump out and see where the thing is and save Dolgan's life. And he's like, "What? Why did you do that, lad?" He says, "I don't know, but it worked." And he's like, "How did you know to warn me the creature was behind me?" He says, "I saw it." Said, "You saw it? How? You had shuttered the lantern." So he got like a feat. If this were Dungeons and Dragons, he can see in the dark. He said, "You said that this armor was special." He says, "Yeah, but I didn't think they were that special. Should I take them off?" said the word boy. "No, no." And so after a while, they go off and about. and make it to the dwarven's place. And they're like, okay, yay, we're here. We're going to go help everyone, but there's nothing we can do until spring because the passes are all solid with snow. And you'll guest with us this winter. And I was kind of bummed that they weren't able to maybe go tell everyone that they were alive and everything was well and they were able to get to Cryde and all that stuff. But also, it sounded so cozy. Imagine spending a winter with a bunch of dwarves.
Yeah, kind of made me feel bad though, like they were kind of trapped there. They didn't really have a choice. But at the same time, because of the weather, there really wasn't much for them to do or anywhere for them to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and spoiler: the armor is important.
Yeah.
I
Well,
felt like it gave him like a spidey sense, but yeah, maybe it gave him like night vision or something. So that's pretty cool. I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah, it's
The first one we'll do next time is a Thomas chapter, I believe.
yeah. Here
And
we go.
I think maybe we could end the book next time.
Easily. Oh, did I press the wrong button? I did not. Here we go. There's Thomas with his armor.
Oh,
Dragon's eye behind him too.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that badass?
yeah. Yeah, because the dragon was pretty huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
This is from a cover of the comic adaptation of this.
Yeah.
So-
Sadly, they only did Magician Apprentice because I think
Mhm.
the company that did the comic went belly up.
Yeah.
There was another company, actually might have been the same one, that did the first Drizzt books, first 6 as graphic novels, and the first 3 Dragonlance as well. But they did them fantastically. They nailed it, but they went belly up.
Oh, that's a
Bummer.
shame.
Bad management, I think it said, when one of the authors were asked.
Yeah. Well, isn't that typical? Yeah, Riddy, that's a perfect point. He's getting leveled up. That was maybe what I was thinking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, instead of just being, level 1, now he's like, he's getting a little bit higher and higher by the day, it feels like now, or by the minute.
Yeah, it's like he skipped several levels.
Yeah.
And a thing that you'll notice it eventually is Feist is really good at developing characters.
Mhm.
Character development. Because you already see changes in Arutha, and you saw changes in Roland as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
So they don't really stay the same, but every change makes perfect sense.
Yeah. It's because it's a natural progression of what is happening to them all. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and change our banner here.
Change it to Bruce.
Oh, no, I mean, we're going on to chapter 11. So we shift gears. Now that we've left our boy Thomas hanging out with dwarves and making me a little bit jealous, we get to the chapter 11, which is the Sorcerer's Isle. Now, I am not going to go into a great detail about what goes on here because there's a lot of exploration, a lot of details about what they're seeing on this really kind of badass island.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so far it's one of my this one and the first chapter are my favorites. Because the first one, I always like the early chapters because that's when you're introduced to stuff, and we're told how what it looks like on the area in Cryde, and you have that storm thing, and they go into the cabin and eat food.
Yes.
So that one was yeah. I always like the beginning chapters of books.
Yeah, he does it so well. Plug does meet with an interesting stranger. I'm going to mute myself for a second. I got to go pick up something, but I'll leave it to you all to talk about this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Rennie, talk.
That's not fair. So at the beginning of the chapter, some of the guys go exploring, but they break up, and Pug finds a very intricate, I guess you'd call it a home, right? Like set of buildings,
Yeah, it was like ancient
like
collapsed
relics or
building.
ruins, right?
Yeah, to me they seem kind of Roman or Greek because
Yeah.
they have that indoor pool and you know.
No, I think that's good because it's like, even though, yes, it's kind of, someone lives there, it's like it doesn't really feel like it's necessarily like what I would consider a home. So that's what's hard for me to describe this. So I think you said it pretty perfectly. Um, so he gets approached by a quirky older man who kind of speaks in riddles, so to speak, not like Gandalf, not at all like Gandalf, very different.
Yeah,
Um,
completely different.
yeah. So, very friendly guy, but for some reason, instead of seeking out the rest of the party, he goes right to Pug. And you have to wonder why. What is this guy's sense? Who is this guy? And, as he starts to talk more and more, I don't want to say this without Teresa being here. I had this little inkling in my head. I wonder if this is this character. And so I just found it to be really cool when you get to the reveal of who he is. I really enjoyed that part. And at first I thought this strange the strange guy was a little weird, but I'm like, no, this is some sort of quote unquote destiny, or some sort of kismet, so to speak. So
And one thing I noticed with that thing that you mentioned is uh, Feist doesn't assume the readers are idiots, you know, and you get
yeah,
rewarded for paying attention, and we just did, right?
yeah, that's
And then we got a
exactly it.
confirmation right after too that yeah, you were right.
Yeah, they really didn't hold or pull any punches, so to speak, on that front. You didn't have to go like, okay, I'll find out like 5 chapters later what the
Yep.
significance of this meeting is. You find out at the end of this chapter. So I thought that was pretty cool, or yeah, middle to end, right? So I thought that was pretty cool. There was no like, mystery, like, well, we'll find out, but not yet kind of thing. So I thought that was kind of cool. And I thought the conversation they had was quite interesting. And, Pug keeps thinking to himself, what was the hidden meaning here? What does this mean?
I just wish they had gone into the castle because I wanted to know what was in the castle
Yeah, but
because that's probably
they
where he
didn't have
lives.
time, right? Because
Now they basically just explored the island while the crew and the captain and everyone were
repairing the
fixing.
ship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and keep in mind this is winter, and the crew dove into the ocean under the ship to check the damage, and then fix it. Trust me,
Yeah.
that's cold, and they're pretty far north on the map too.
I like to tell myself that Colgan cast some spells to keep them from getting frostbite.
Yeah, I didn't.
Well, as long as he didn't get frostbite on his Todger, I'm okay.
What the
Oh no,
hell?
man.
Oh,
Colgan's a little bit too old and wise for me, man.
yeah. That's another reference to the royal family, and that which I know that you're so interested in, Stieg. I'm talking about your illegitimate half brother. Yeah,
Oh,
he let the whole world know that he got frostbite on his Todger. It's very unfortunate. But yeah, whatever all you said, I'm sure was absolutely fantastic.
We were talking about Pug meeting a stranger, and it was significant, but we didn't give away who the stranger was just yet because you weren't here.
Oh, okay. Oh, because I have to do the sound effects. Oh, for fuck's sake! Sorry, I dropped something. Um, all right. So, anyways, and I love the way though that they're like, "Who is Macros?" It's like, oh my gosh, that's someone we just were talking about in the last chapter. Macros is very old. By what arts he keeps alive, only he knows, but he has lived there over 300 years. And
It
there,
was
upon the bluff,
sorry.
I'm sorry. No, that was my fault. I
No,
hesitated. Go ahead.
it was cool because, like, you know, like I was telling Steve, they were hinting who it was. And, when I was reading, I was like, oh, this is probably Macros. I didn't want to give it away without you being like around. And then Colgan's like, I wonder. And then Pug's like, who's that? And he kind of tells him, and then he feels something in his like tunic, and it's like he finds a nose signed Macros. And I was like, ha, I knew it.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, and Colgan got the guy's staff.
Yes. Well, that was pretty
Yes.
cool too.
Yes, I know. He got
Maybe
Macros.
significant as well. I don't remember, but it's probably like a wizard staff of something.
That's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he said, keep it as a sign of friendship. Seek me until the appointed time, for that is too ordained. It's like, I'm not sure what happened, but he wishes us well, and that is a good thing.
Yeah, because it sounds like he's a good guy to have in your corner, especially after reading the last chapter.
Mhm.
And then this one, it's like, okay, so he's obviously a powerful magician. And it's like, if he's trying to help you out, it's like, okay, well then I'm having a good day.
He's definitely more powerful than Colgan.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. He's something else, I'll tell you that. Gosh, I'm just looking at these last chats. You guys are horrible. Yeah, it's like... All right. Well, I love this. And I thought it was magical. I thought it was mysterious. All of the above. It almost reminded me of like a little pirate side quest.
Yeah, kind of. It also kind of was, and I know this is like a completely different story, but it was reminiscent of the last Shannara book, because they also, took a ship elsewhere and hit a couple of snags. I thought that was interesting, but completely different story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was turning the page. That's why it was messed up. Oh, we got an LOL. That means we're awesome. Yeah, we're really terrible people. Yeah, everything that you said. I just love this so much. See, is this the next one? Okay, and then we get some time jumps actually in the next chapter. Before we move on, is there anything else you want to say, Steve?
No, I just looked up some macro stuff that I
cool.
thought I remembered, and I'm not sure you've gotten to that, Teresa, in the books, because you're halfway through the whole series. But yeah, powerful.
Yeah. Jacob says, I like how the dragon and Macros gives them the group gifts to help them in the battle to come. Yeah, that's a fantasy thing where you get gifts from the magical people. Yeah. Most excellent.
I will say I thought it was cool, and I don't know it well, I'm sure you guys know better than me, but that Macros took a special interest in Pug, and I think that means there actually is something special about Pug. So, we already know that he has natural abilities. And so it's like, what does Macros see in him? He must have some sort of premonition or some sort of feeling about what he's carrying in him that's got some potential or something. I don't know. That's just me. Maybe I'm just looking for too much meaning.
No, I think you're on the right track. Well, because remember, he's like the Luke Skywalker-ish character, the hero in the hero's journey, the one who always has, great things to accomplish.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, I now have the bacon, Matt G. So it is a happy Teresa. No, so I will not be hangry at all anymore.
Yay!
Yay! Even though I wasn't feeling hungry, but it was coming on. Well, we have a time jump in chapter 12. They're in. I love Crondor so much. So Pug wakes up in Crondor, where the crown prince is the ruler, the one who is heir to the throne. He'd been surprised to find the prince young, in his 30s, if not a vigorous and well man. And it was Erland of Crondor, was a reflective person who listened patiently to Pug and their narrative. And for the first time, Pug gets that really cozy moment where he's in this feather bed and he's got all sorts of good clothes and good food, and it just makes you want to go live in a palace.
Oh, and Prince Erland is the uncle of the king because he declined the throne
Ah,
and his
Yes.
nephew took it. So it's an odd little thing there. And he also seems to have maybe tuberculosis
mm,
or
definitely.
something.
He's definitely sick.
Yeah, he's sick and he's coughing a lot. So I'm thinking maybe tuberculosis or maybe lung cancer. I don't know, but he's ill.
Yeah. Considering this is a fantasy book which has medieval lisk things, I root for tuberculosis. As you know, that's what they do. I'm going to bring up this map here so we can get ourselves orientated. And it also shows that in this world, they are comfortable with not the heir to the throne. Like they're comfortable with abdication. And because sometimes in our real world, in our history, when people decline the throne and all that, it leads to civil war. But it seems like they really do tend to accept these situations. Well, I'm going to eat my words actually in a few minutes, but I was jumping ahead of myself.
Oh, and
But
Krondor is the capital of the eastern, the western side of the kingdom.
mhm.
So basically the prince rules Krondor, and the king rules at Rillanon.
Mhm.
Yeah, but that was, well, that's the way it's supposed to be, right? But it sounds like the king's just like, nah, it's all mine.
Yeah, he basically thinks the prince is trying to usurp him.
Yeah. So he doesn't trust the prince. And I think, didn't he take away his like military rights or his military command or something like that?
Yeah, because the prince is in charge of the armies of the west. So if any town in the west needs help, the prince of Krondor can
Mhm.
send the army there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But recently, probably during the book, the king has made it so that only he can do that.
Yeah. Which is not cool.
No, Krondor is probably the most featured city in the books, though. That one's really important.
Yeah. And for your viewing pleasure, I have on this map to the circle to the left is Cryde, the circle to the middle that is where Krondor is,
Yeah.
and we're going to
Oh,
see.
and during the journey, they mentioned that they considered anchoring up at Queg, which is the big island in the middle.
Mhm. Yeah.
That is not ruled by the kingdom. It is a pirate island,
Hmm.
Yep.
self ruled by pirates, and they have a massive navy. But they're also good at good for trading, but they can't really do anything about them because you know high level pirates.
Yeah, which is pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah.
So we got you pirates. All right, and then I'm looking.
Oh, side note: did you guys catch the little Tolkien Easter egg?
Tolkien
No,
Easter egg?
Yeah, there's a
I.
spot on the map that they mentioned called Valinor.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just below the Great Towers on the map. You see Valinor.
Good one.
It's a little tip of the hat to Tolkien. George Martin did that too, quite a few times. It's one of the uh, castles at the wall is named Oakenshield.
Oh, I
Nice.
remember that.
Now that's
Yeah.
that one I was like, wait, am I crazy?
No.
And there was another more obscure one. There's a knight or something in the George Martin books called Sir Trebor of House Tor. Sir Trebor is Sir. No, so it's Sir Trebor Jourdain of House Tor. Trebor is Robert. backwards. So it's Robert Jordan, and House Tor is Tor Publishing. So it's the late writer who did the Wheel of Time books. George Martin
Hmm.
gave him a little, put him in the book a little,
Yay!
which was kind of cool.
Yeah, I love the way they all have respect for each other, which is why it is a musical term for when you slow down at the end of a piece or a phrase, specifically when people try to pit different fantasies against each other. That's
Well, but didn't George R. R. Martin, isn't he the one that said that Tolkien should have left Gandalf dead?
no.
No, that's what they said he did.
Okay, but
But
he
if
didn't
you,
say that.
Well,
Okay.
he said
yes,
it, but he didn't say it in the context that
yeah,
people
basically he
interpret it.
said he uh, he had such an emotional reaction when Gandalf died, right?
Hmm.
And that got taken away half a book later when he just shows up and he's actually better than he was when he died.
Mm.
So he said he wouldn't have done that. He would have let him stay dead.
Yeah, but it
And
wasn't.
he mentioned an example of Marvel having done that when he was a kid. Some Marvel characters that was in a few comics did a heroic sacrifice,
Hmm.
and then they brought him back later because people liked him. So this you nullified the sacrifice. So he was basically talking about that, and then he mentioned uh, that he was a bit because he had been thinking about like everyone what happens after the Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah.
And it says Aragorn ruled wisely, right?
Yeah.
That's it. That's all it says. And he had been thinking, what does rule wisely mean? What did he do about the orcs? What was his tax plans, right?
Yeah,
So he was just musing.
it
But
wasn't a.
then all kinds of articles going, oh yeah, he's attacking Tolkien, and people just read the headlines and go, he's even Tolkien finished the books, right?
Yeah. Well,
It
actually,
actually
I
took
still
it actually
still
took Tolkien longer
well, but I
because
still
if you
I,
count the Silmarillion,
I still use that
Yeah.
argument. But when you see the interview, it's it's actually very clear the context, and he always expresses and understand he was asked also some of these questions as well. They're like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" But he always prefaces it with, "I have the greatest amount of respect for Tolkien, and anyone that even tries to compare anything I do to Tolkien, that's very humbling to me." And he also pointed out, but whenever you look at our works, you have to realize that we're different. And he also used that in some of the context of it as
yeah,
well.
well,
Maybe one day I'll do a video on that. He says that I have a very cynical view and he has a very this view. So it's something that he acknowledges. It's not like a got you
yeah,
moment.
Gotcha. That
it's
makes
not.
sense.
It wasn't that at all, and he was praising Tolkien,
Yeah.
you know. And I mean,
But
if you're writing a fantasy book, any kind of fantasy book, and someone compares you to Tolkien, that's probably the best compliment you can ever get.
and that's
Yeah.
actually what he said. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
but
We're
people
digre-
jumped on the bandwagon.
well, it doesn't help when someone did an article summarizing it and did it was the equivalent of throwing a bomb into the middle of a volatile situation. We're getting a little bit off track, so I'm going to bring it back here. But my context was that most of these rivalries they are imaginary, and the people involved are not. They have a great deal of respect for each other and each other's work. But one thing that's really cool that happens here is Pug's minding his own business, and there's this little girl.
Yes.
A girl was standing behind, and she goes, "Are you Prince Arutha?" A girl was standing behind him, 6 or 7, big green eyes, red hair, all done up in silver netting. She's all dressed up and everything. As no, I'm Pug. He said, "Oh," she's like, "Oh, I wanted to see him before you leave for Salador." And at first, Pug was like, "How the heck does this little girl know more about what we're doing than I am?" Because he hadn't heard about them going off to Salador. And then she's like, "Who's your father?" "The prince, silly." He goes, "Oh, you're Princess Anita." And so Princess Anita technically is in line of succession to the throne, even though her father chose to be the prince. She goes, I'm a real princess too, not the daughter of a duke, but the daughter of a prince. And I'm thinking of Carlene. And she's too
Yeah.
young to know the comparison. He's like, she's like, but I want to see Prince Arutha. He's like, I don't know. Why do you want to see him? He goes, Mummy says I may marry him someday, so I want to see if he's a nice man. And that says a lot because we all know that this happened all the time where princesses were promised to them and the poor women that were sent off, it wasn't a matter of whether she was going to marry him, but it was whether it was going to be a nice prince or a not nice prince. And that already as a young girl, her first thought is, I want to know that he's nice, that he's going to be good to me. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Not pretty cool, but pretty
and
insightful.
Princess Anita doesn't have a snobby bone in her body.
No.
No, because she's just an
Uh,
innocent child.
yeah, but she's probably been pampered, but it hasn't affected her. Unlike Caroline,
Mm-hmm.
who
True.
has a little bit of a bitchy streak.
Yes, she's a diva.
Yep. Yeah, she needed to get it knocked on her butt a bit, but who knows what's going to happen later. And so I just thought that was neat. And we're going to see her again because she decides when they're all having dinner, she comes and sneaks in. She is determined to see him. And she's like, I'm not supposed to be here. And so Pug holds her up so she can see him. And she goes, I am in your debt. And then someone catches him there. And Pug's like, what are you doing behind this curtain? I thought that was a nice, humorous moment.
Yeah, that was cute.
Yeah. So pay attention. Wait. What are they saying in the sort of poopus? Red hair and green eyes. She's a witch.
Yeah, throw her into the ocean and see if she floats or not.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I thought Monty Python said they have to weigh as much as you have to weigh as much as a duck, which means you're made of wood,
Yeah,
aka a witch.
because wood floats,
That's right.
and so does a duck.
Yep,
It's rock solid, not logic.
that's right.
I believe a lot of that is apocryphal,
And then,
but
they weigh her, and she does weigh as much
As much as a duck.
And the witch just goes shit. The witch was John Cleese's wife, who was also in Faulty Towers. She played the receptionist, Polly.
Oh, nice.
okay. Jacob says,
But
my
we
story's gonna have a
digress.
redhead.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're gonna have a redheaded princess in this. Well, there you go. We like redheaded princesses. But in any case, Prince Arutha comes storming in, probably looking really hot when he's storming, because he's a great hulking man of manhood. He's like, Colgan, there you are. Do you know what our royal cousin is doing about the Serrani invasion? And he's like, what? And no, he won't lift a finger to send aid to Cridey until father has seen the king. That'll take another 2 months. So he's losing his crap. So they're going to have to take time out of what they're doing to go see the king. And he's like, quietly, Arutha. So, and then the king sent word less than a year ago that the armies may not be mustered without his permission. It is in violation of tradition. Never have the armies of the West had another commander than the Prince of Frondor, as the armies of the East are the king's. So this is a little bit what we were talking about earlier, that all is not right in Denmark. Or I don't know if that's the correct Shakespearean quote, but I'm close.
No, it's something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
There you go. Something is
Yeah.
rotten in the state of Rillanon, which I keep wanting to call Ritalin. So they're going to go to Solidor and then to go by ship to Rillanon. By the time we reach the king, the first thaw will have come to Cridey. So time is running out. We've got ourselves a ticking time bomb, and they're dinking around trying to do this. So so off they go, and you realize it took 4 weeks instead of 3. So it's just longer and longer time that they don't have. And as Pug is seeing all these big, great places, it says that he realizes how really frontier, how small Cridey was. And let me.
Yeah, he's basically going from bigger to bigger places.
Yeah. And then this is where we learn for the first time that Boric actually renounced, or he didn't renounce the claim, but that he could have been a claimant to the throne.
Yeah,
And
it was Boric and King Roderick and Guy de Bastira
yes,
who seems to be up to sinister things.
yeah. That's why I realized when I said, wait a second, maybe they will be having this civil war. And it sounds like people liked Boric a lot. And when Erlend did not take the throne, that's what made these possible heirs come up. And Boric said, I would have rejected it even if I'd have gotten here in time. And they're like, history may have been different had you been so. And they realize that part of what they're saying is treason, or could be construed as treason. So they have to be very careful. But this is where we learn that, yeah, we might be on the verge of civil war. And he says, take care, Bork, for only Erland stands closer to the throne than yourself. And our king is well aware of this fact. And then he says, you are the only one in the kingdom with the strength and rank to possibly influence the king. And I love this. The king, sorry. Your black-hearted cousin Guy is now closest to the king's. Why do we always have to have a worm-tonguish kind of character?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I'm like, okay, we got another one of these, another worm tongue. Giving ill or evil advice to the king or influencing.
Yeah. For their own nefarious purposes. And then Bork
He has his own YouTube channel too.
Wait, never mind. I didn't get the joke.
He did a YouTube video bashing Boric, and now the king hates him.
Oh, got you. It indicates where you lead, many will follow. It says, are you speaking of civil war? And Bork's like, the king is the kingdom. So he, even if the king has some issues, he's realizing, that the king is the king. And he says, I will do whatever I can to ensure the survival of the kingdom because he's an honorable man.
Yeah, like I said, this story so far hasn't had any assholes.
Nope. Except possibly Guy. We'll see. And as a result of all this, Pug is really discouraged, and he realizes that his dreams of the king answering the call of Cryde with banners flying were another boyish fancy shattered upon the hard rock of reality.
He stabbed himself.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how depressing. This is not a let's dance around and sing with birds kind of tale. This is pretty serious stuff.
Yeah, it's just sad. We can't be bothered helping you guys. That's sad.
It's a good way to set up the problems in the kingdom as well. Because Cryde was a bit out of the way. So now they're learning as they're traveling, actually, what's actually been going on.
Mm-hmm.
And given that there's an invasion coming, a civil war is the last thing they need.
Because then they'll be sitting ducks. Speaking of ducks.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else before we go on to Ritalin, chapter 13?
Rillanon.
I know, I'm being mean. Oh, gosh, that annoyed you. Did you hear that annoyance in his voice? My gosh.
I always have that.
Know.
No, not always.
Oh, judging tone then.
Yeah. I could see you in a meme where it's like constantly judging you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I am.
Well, in any case.
Looking at you right now.
Yeah, I can feel it.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go back to the map because, Precious, we have Rillanon. I only said Ritalin because I always think of it as Ritalin. Here it is. Over here, another island in the middle of well, the eastern area. You can see
Yeah.
much larger.
And if you look at Salador,
Mhm.
from Salador to Rillanon is actually longer than from Borden to Krondor.
Yeah,
So
good
it's quite
point.
a trip.
Condor. Yeah, so you can really feel their frustration. Um, it's like Jack Bauer on 24, how he's like, "We're running out of time."
Yeah. Shags
Yeah.
people in 2 minutes.
Oh, I know he's amazing, and the woman always enjoys it too. So, yeah,
Yeah.
and
That's impressive.
gets across LA traffic. Yeah.
I'm
Um.
I'm gonna let you in on a secret.
Hmm.
Oh no, Steve, don't.
Yeah. If you're a man and you're banging a lady, first you need leverage, and then you need to remember Return of the King, that big battering ram the orcs used.
Grand?
And yeah, pretend you're Grond, and the woman is the gates of Minas Tirith, and hammer away. Another thing you can do, you know those big oil pumps that drill into the earth for oil.
Yeah.
Picture you being one of them, but if you don't manage to drill all the way to the Earth's core in 3 minutes, the planet will explode. So keep that in mind. Just pound fast and hard.
You are well aware that I completely object to your 3-minute rule.
Heavyweight heavyweight boxing match is 3 minutes.
Never mind. We're going to
Think
start up
about
this
that.
argument again. All right. I'm really sorry for everyone that. Oh, look, someone just popped right out because of you, Stieg. Damn you.
See,
Think
it
we're-
works. You keep pounding like that, someone pops out.
No, they oh, I swear, if I lose subs, I'm gonna murder you. All right. Meanwhile, in Rillanon, the kingdom seat. Genie Mac. Okay, so the person came back. I'm glad you came back. Don't listen to Stieg. He's evil and he's a bad, bad man. The climate of the Kingdom Sea was more clement than the Bitter Sea. Okay, so we went through the Kingdom Sea to the Candy Cane Forest, all that kind of stuff. And Rillanon is called the Jewel of the Kingdom. Rillanon stood on tall spires, arch bridges. So, we're basically talking huge, amazing stuff. And they looked at Pug and it's like, is this your younger boy? It's like, no, but there would be no shame to me if he were.
Oh, yeah, that's a good line.
Yeah. And when they were at Salador, the Duke had ordered a new ducal banner sewn for Bork. So he has a banner, and it just, looked really cool. And a river ran before the forest, and the entrance was made over a high bridge. Just really, these really great things. I want to go visit here. There's polished marble in Pug's room, polished marble, things flecked with gold. There was a mirror, just oh gosh, a gilded bathing tub. Gosh, I want one of those. It's large. And he had a steward, a servant, and he's like, "Shall I ready your bath, sir?" And he's like, it's like, oh my gosh. Pug
It's
is
like,
really...
what do I do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but oh yeah, Steve, people are rebuking you.
Let them.
Yeah, I'm sure you care. All right. So, anyways, Roderick the Fourth comes, and this is where we first truly see this man's not playing with a full deck. And our monarch is a man of moods, kind of like me sometimes. Well, never mind. Anyways, but in any case, the king is really nice to Pug, and I don't stand on formality when I dine with a friend. And he rambled a lot, and they're trying to get just a lot of banter. I didn't see a lot in the original dialogue. I think we were just getting to know everyone. But finally, some news is brought to Boric, and they said messengers arrived less than an hour ago from the Duke of Bastera. Guy expresses alarm over the possibility that the king might be unduly distressed by these rumors of trouble in the West. And then Bork stood and threw his glass across the room, shattering it. What game does Guy play at? Why this talk of rumors and undue stress? And he says, I think Guy is trying to ensure that the king reaches no decision until he arrives at the palace. So,
But Arutha stepped up a bit there
mhm,
and said, we need to consider what Guy actually knows. Because all
mhm.
he knows
Yeah.
is there's rumors about some alien invasion and a ship that nobody's really seen. You know?
Yeah.
True.
And that was very competent thinking of Arutha,
Mm-hmm.
which means he's probably going to be a good ruler.
Mm. I'm not going to disagree with you. Yeah. And so, and what did it say? Even Arutha, who had fumed like black thunder all week, looked nearly happy. But then we get news. Oh my gosh. The Serani aliens have been attacking some garrisons, and they attacked Kryde. And your son Leon reports that the victory was total, so they were able to defeat the first Serani invasion. We also learned that the Serani do not use cavalry. This is what they suspected, but they don't have horses. They don't know how to use horses. And that is an advantage that the people of Mid Kimia have for now.
Yeah, that's actually a big advantage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then the king kind of gets his wits together and he's like, okay, we're gonna take care of this. And he goes, Bork, leave Kryde to your sons Liam and Arutha. I'm giving you the banner of the armies of the West. Dun dun dun. You must go at once. Go now. So yay. And
And
then sorry.
Prince King Roderick, although he seems to have some kind, maybe he's schizophrenic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got some sort of personality disorder. I agree.
Yeah.
Either that or he's just
But-
crazy,
But he is definitely not evil.
No. Yeah, he's not like well, the wrong word is that one guy. What was his name from the Terry Brooks book? The guy really went BS crazy.
oh.
Yeah,
Are you
Balinor's brother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not that, or he's not Theoden when he was under the spell. He just boy's got issues, and it shows that he can be reasoned with. And then Pug is thinking that he's going to get to go home, maybe, but the prince will ship for Krondor, and the duke will ship for all these other places. Where Lord Boric goes, Colgan goes. So in other words, since Lord Boric is not going home, Colgan is not going to go home either. And since Pug is his apprentice, Pug must go. So once more, Pug is going to be away from everybody. And then they were on their way to ship. They were on their way on the ship and the first leg of the long journey west. Hitler, what on earth?
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
I don't understand what that was about.
But okay, hi Luffy. Speaking of men from
probably comparing him to King Roderick.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I was like, okay.
Yeah, men of the West. All right. Well, anything else before we go on to chapter 14?
No, not for me.
All right. Well, I don't think
The king had some words to say about Arutha and Boric's kids a bit.
Okay.
Because I sent you a picture of that, remember?
Oh gosh. Oh, but that's if we focus too much on that, Steve, would that be a spoiler?
No, it's just worth remembering.
Yeah, but you didn't. You sent that to me. You didn't send it to our group chat, right?
Yeah, didn't.
Okay, I know what you mean. Well, there are a few words said about things. I don't know if I can.
I can read it.
Yeah, Steve, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Yeah, it's like a blink and you'll miss it thing. And since it's already been on the page, it's not spoilerish to say what was said, right?
You are correct.
No, it is not.
Well, well, the Twitter's being slow because of StreamYards.
Well, there's been lots of hints dropped, but I do not blame anybody reading this for the first time because I did not catch it when I first
No,
read this.
I didn't either. Basically, he says, it says the Duke presented his son, and the king said, well, it is true that one of the Condoin line carries the blood of our mother's kin, besides ourselves.
Mm-hmm. I guess there's not much we can say.
I was going to say I just attributed that to lineage, but
Well, one
But-
of them. Yeah.
I'm assuming that that means something more from what you guys are saying. So, but I just really didn't see that as anything special because,
Well, because he's saying it about Arutha.
yeah.
Yeah.
So one of them carries the bloodline, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Meaning,
And well, I think that we'll use this as a reference for later. You know what I mean? So sometimes when I'm guilty of this too, or not guilty, that's maybe the wrong word. I have been finding myself emphasizing the things that I know are important and not emphasizing the things that aren't important because it's really fun. I just love it. I just love it so much. So let's go ahead and move on to chapter 14, sorry, which is invasion, which means it must be a chapter, right? No, we're being invaded. Dun dun dun. So while they're all out on campaign, really.
yeah, they're up in Yabin, I think it was. Or
Yeah.
was it Lamont?
Oh gee. Oh, Murder in Lamont. That's the name of one of the books.
Yeah.
Um,
There's actually a murder mystery book in this series. It's a spin-off book.
Hmm.
It's a
called-
who done it in Lamont.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's it doesn't seem like they're really getting anywhere. What does Bork say? It's like we've danced with the Serrani so long, holding a stable front. And now they're talking about maybe breaking through some forces, just some technical battle stuff. And then they're still like, we just don't understand. This is what Colgan says. Where do they come from? How do they cross from our world to their world to ours? And why do they come? And then Meacham said, metal. They don't have any metal and they want ours.
Which
And then
makes pretty damn sense because you know when they found the survivor at the shipwreck,
mhm.
that it was pointed out that there wasn't metal. It was made from some strange wood stuff. You know the armor and the armor was made from some sort of chitin, I think. But the sword was like some weird wood thing.
Hmm.
So it actually was foreshadowed right from the get go. But it's fun that Meacham was the one to point it out, not the. It's good that the side characters get stuff that's important to do as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I also want to give a shout out to Fantas, because Fantas was trying to steal some of the food, and they're like, "No, Fantas," because I love Fantas. We love baby dragons. But yeah, and that's when they realize why they have been attacking where they have, because they want the dwarven mines, because that's where they can get all the metal. And they go, I need to inform the dukes at once. We must send word to the dwarves to be alert. That they're about ready to have this big ass invasion and where it's going to be. And Meacham said, those bastards fight like 600 kinds of demons. And that's what makes them such a scary villain, scary antagonists. It seems like they're, they have so much more technology. It seems like they know more about magic, or they have some sort of magical powers, because we've seen the way that they can open up these portals, and they're going to be overwhelmed with numbers. So I don't know. I remember feeling a little bit on the steps of despair.
Yeah,
A
no,
li-
I agree.
Mhm,
They're better at they seem to be better at fighting, and they're really good at sneaking up on their opponents.
mhm,
And kind of like what you said earlier, they pretty much come out of nowhere. It's like, hey, what?
mhm,
So, they have that element of surprise, and it's really hard to fight against that. How do you prepare for that? That's kind
yeah,
of hard. And the only thing that they have going for them better than these alien invaders is they have metal. They have iron swords instead of these, like, maybe wooden. I don't know if it's supposed to be like petrified wood or whatnot. But they do have that advantage, or like the protection. And I'm curious to what Thomas's armor is going to do for him. So on that front.
Yeah. Plus, he is with the dwarves, and now we know they're going for the dwarven mines.
Yep. And so we know his purpose. So, or at least that's what I feel like. And it's like, okay, he was supposed to be there. His purpose is to help defend the dwarves, right? So,
Maybe.
it it's like poet. Well, I don't. I know we don't want to say anything. Well, yeah, I mean,
I'm not going to spoil anything, but yeah, shit's coming for the dwarves. I think. I mean, it's been 20 years since I read this. You know.
yeah. Well,
Um,
and also Elvendar is over in that area too.
yeah, I remember the ending of this chapter. That one was stuck in my memory since back then.
Mhm. Yeah, and of course, what happens in this is there's this big old battle confrontation, and we see specifically how the mid people of Mid Kimia having horses is the advantage, because the Serrani people just keep getting overwhelmed.
oh,
And
that's true. They have
yeah,
that too.
and that's why they run and all that, because they just can't do anything with the horses. And then, well, Pug got wounded, not too bad, on the right cheek, and then um Pulgan caught sight.
Well, the reason why is because they're basically doing a hit and run thing to find the rift where they're coming in, because they realize the Serrani are using the area as a beachhead,
Hmm.
because they have to, you know, they they uh, they haven't been foraging in the forest for food, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, and I thought it was fun that Colgan said that he can't wear armor because it'll interfere with his magic, which is a
Yeah,
D&D
but
thing, because wizards can't use armor. But and then Pug kind of thought he it's probably because the armor interferes with his giant girth.
that's what I thought too. I was laughing. I'm like, oh, he's too fat for armor. That's messed up.
Yeah, Pug was thinking that too. He was like
Fat
kind of
shaming.
cold about it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. He describes it as like a hide and seek kind of thing that they're playing because like they seem to just pop out of nowhere.
Yeah, they're going in there to report. So basically, go in, see whatever you can, and go back and report.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's a scouting mission, really.
Yes. Uh, and in any case, so while this is all happening, catches sight of Colgan and reins his horse to bring himself closer to the musician. 30 yards to the right, Pug sees other riders. Suddenly, about 100 yards in front, a loud buzzing noise filled the air, and a black-robed man appeared, as if from thin air. Colgan's horse bore straight for him, but the man had a queer-looking device in his hand that he pointed at the magician, and the air sizzled with energy. The horse screamed and fell over. Oh my gosh, this is awful. The fat musician was tossed over the horse's head. With an amazing display of agility, he rolled up onto his feet and bowled over the black-robed
Yeah,
man.
I thought that was cool because basically it's probably a wand shooting a lightning bolt
Hmm.
at the horse, but Colgan being damn old and fat basically lands in a John Wick roll
Hmm.
and just barrels into him without stopping,
Yeah.
which is kind of that's like Jedi Knight thing, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was like a mental battle between Colgan and and the person or creature or whatever it was, and then while that was going on, Pug used the flat as a sword to knock the guy out. And Colgan says, "I could not have bettered him. I've never encountered such mental strength. And he says, listen, you need to carry word to Borak. From the speed that wagon was coming through the rift, they can bring in several hundred men a day. Tell the Duke it would be suicide to try to take the machine. The magicians are too powerful. And if I had time to blah, blah, blah." So he says, I can't remember all that. Real ride double. And so let me see if I have this right here.
Well,
Um,
Pug says they can't ride double, and he gives Colgan the horse.
yeah. Yeah. And ignoring Colgan's objections, he bullies him into the saddle. And he says, I'll find another. And as he's scaring the other, Pug turns and suddenly there's a black robed Serani regaining his feet. And Pug charges him. And there's this big ol' fight. And see.
Well, Meacham rides up and kills him,
Yes, there we go. Meacham came
just
in.
as the Serani uses a device.
Mm-hmm. And the magician jumped to his feet and reached to his robe. He pulled out a small device and activated the object. Pug rushed the man, determined to knock the device from his hand. The device hummed louder, and Pug could hear Meacham again shouting his name as he struck the magician, burying his shoulder into the man's stomach. Suddenly, the world exploded with white and blue lights, and Pug felt himself falling through a rainbow of colors into a pit of darkness. Dun, dun, dun.
Like in a vortex with
Yes.
glimmering things and objects floating around him, and he's spinning and yelling, "Time!"
See, I pictured the Rainbow Bridge in I can't remember what it's called now.
Thor.
Where Thor's from. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that's a good comparison.
Actually, let me escape out of here. I want to get to the picture you had of it.
We have a highlighted comment covering everything.
Oh, oopsie. Let me. Thomas is going to beat them into the ground. Oh, well, yeah. We love Thomas. We endorse Thomas here at Miss Martin Muses. I hope people don't get car sick. Actually, I probably should have brought this up before I. Let's review all of the characters we have. Here it is. There we go. There we go. This is what happens when you're at graduation really late. That is a badass picture.
I'm thinking it's inverted too, because Pug isn't left-handed.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Hmm. Well, this was also the cover, I think, of one of the
Yeah, it's from one of the
comics.
comics.
Yeah, so maybe they figured it would look better that way. I don't know. And of course, we realize that Pug has now gone through the gone into the other dimension, and he's being very roughly treated, being pulled around, and what the man in black said something in a high-pitched sing-song language to the other, and then a dude comes forward and says, I only know a little of your speech. You understand? Pug nodded. So we do know that some of them are learning the language. I tell you, if you lie, you die. It's like, yeah, Pug, no pressure.
Yeah, no worries. You got this.
He says the man, and he points to a man in the orange room, is a great man, a high man. His family great. Mean wannabe. Am I saying that right? Min wannabe. He's
Yeah, that
sexy.
sounds good.
Maybe Min Wanabe?
Min wabi. Yeah,
Oh.
that's it. Yeah. It's been so long. I don't think I've ever had to say these names out loud.
No, that's
It's hard to
that
pronounce some of this.
it's kind of like, that interview with I think it's the making of Star Wars, when Harrison Ford, that they're having a go at the lines and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It says you can type this shit, but you can't say it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's a lot like that with some fantasy books when they do those impressive names, and then when you actually say them, it's like, what?
Yeah. You can type it, you can't say it. So yes, so we have Minwabi. Well, now I said it all wrong. So Pug Pug is questioned, and because they ask him, about how that is tall mountain larger than others. That way is this. He's trying to tell me. I really don't know how many. In other words, they're just talking about some of the landscape.
Yeah,
And they,
landscape and strength of the armies.
mm-hmm.
And apparently they have a device that can tell if he's lying.
Yeah, so he has to tell the truth.
They have like their own version of what is it called? A polygraph.
Yeah. Oh gosh, wasabi. Everyone's saying wasabi. Oh gosh, I did, didn't I? Oh no. Pug is a POW and surrounding. Yeah, and this is bad. This is really bad.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Benedict. Oh sorry.
Yeah, because he's not just in a prison camp; he's on a different world.
And
Yeah.
like in a different world, and like not a different dimension, I guess, but yeah, it's like a total other realm.
And that has to fuck with your head immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you can escape a prison there, but how the fuck do you get back to your own world?
It's
yeah,
impossible.
not just
It's
that.
not like
but-
it's not like you steal a spaceship or anything.
Mm-hmm.
No, and it's not your own. It's not your home, or it's not your own planet or world or whatnot. So, what if people, what if there are hiding places or cameras where people can see and report you, or you get caught no matter where you go?
Yep.
There's no escape.
No, he is up a paddle without a creek.
What?
You never heard of that
creek without a
expression?
paddle?
What did I
up
say?
a creek. You said up a paddle without a creek.
Oh. Oops. Well, that would be very uncomfortable.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, that will put you on the ground with the paddle.
Gosh darn it, Sneak. Okay, wrong expression. Up a creek without a paddle. And then the dude says, "My lord says, I think this servant," pointing at Pug, "is clever. My lord does not mind clever servants, for they work well, but he thinks you are too clever. He says to tell you to be careful, for you are now a slave. A clever slave may live a long time. Too clever a slave dies quickly. quickly if he is fortunate. And you're like, oh my gosh, now Pug is not just a POW. He has been basically a slave. I don't know if he's sold into
Yeah.
slavery the way we would think about it, but he is definitely a slave, a prisoner of war. And
Well,
Well, and
he's
I think
basically spoils of war.
mhm.
I think it's interesting, like, because it sounds like to me like the Tsurani seem. I have such a hard time with this word. I keep wanting to say tsunami because it looks very similar.
Oh, you're right.
So I feel like, from what they've said about him, again, there's something special about him. There's something different about him. He has a lot of potential to do some great, possibly terrible things, but I think that there's something about him that people with a really good sense of magic or that are really powerful can sense within him.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, my poor boy. And then we realize Pug, of course, is not the only one being sold into slavery. He's sent to a pen with a whole bunch of other slaves from his world. And they are F dash 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 ED'd. I think I did it right. F dash dash dash. Oh, wait, I had one too many dashes. And that's the end. On that happy note. Stieg, what are we going to do?
Keep reading.
Oh, I know that. Yes, we'll just reading. Yes. Okay, I guess. Oh, gee.
You don't say.
Don't
Yeah, and it's gonna get better and better,
Mm.
Or, well, that depends on what you think is better. But there's gonna be more and more action, more and more happening. And I'm thinking, how many chapters are left of the book? Because I can't tell because mine is combined.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is we have chapters fifth. The end of this is because mine is combined too, but they actually have a break in here. Book 2. It is okay. I think it's It's not too far away. It's chapter 18. So I think we can do it.
15 through 18?
15
Yeah.
through 18, yeah. It's less than 100 pages, and it goes fast. Because there's...
then we'll finish the book.
Yay! We'll finish the book, and everyone will love us.
Yeah, because it's better that we finish the book instead of doing the rest of the book and one chapter from the next
Yeah.
one, or leave
That
one
would be
chapter.
weird for some.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can plug ahead.
Yeah, because there is a little bit of a time skip between the books.
Yeah. Jacob Ironside says, I keep thinking of the dog Pug in Dune, the war pug. Oh, I myself haven't really read Dune, but I will take your word for it. Yeah, Pug is quite an interesting name for a character. It's got the weird name, like, the way Frodo has a weird name, and the other people have names like Sam and all that, and Pug is the weird one.
I just think of like what is it called? Like those pug dogs, I just keep thinking of that dog breed, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's driving me crazy.
Yeah, like a little squashed face.
Yes, and I picture his face looking kind of like that, but like a human version, and I don't think it does from the pictures we see, but that's just how I picture him, looking like a human version of a pug.
He's a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that'll do it. So essentially, to sum up, we had the cool part with the dragon. We learned all about Macros. Thomas got his super duper armor thing. We learned about the palace intrigue, potential civil war. Then we moved on to where they're full throttled war, and Pug gets captured and made into a slave. Dun, dun, dun. Such a fun book. Yes, I love it. I love it, Jacob. Torn Poopa says, with one tooth sticking out from the bottom jaw. Oh, you're talking about the dog. Okay. Dragon, cool. Macros, cool. Serrani, not cool, says Rennie. Not cool. No.
Yeah. We had
We
some
do
cool
not endorse.
characters and some not so cool characters in
No.
these chapters.
Yeah.
And all the side characters seems to be getting an equal amount of screen time. Nobody's really left in the background too long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you don't go like, oh yeah, that was the character that had that one line in that one book that one time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they also get to contribute, like Meacham did.
Yeah.
Here's the question: did Meacham go with them through the portal? Because he was right next to it, right?
Oh God. They don't say that he did, but they also don't say that he didn't at this point.
Yeah.
So
Pug passed out, so he doesn't know.
yeah.
I don't, because I don't remember.
I'm gonna go ahead and guess no. Because that's the obvious thing would be to say yes, right? So I'm gonna say no, but I'm probably wrong. Who knows?
It's 50-50.
That's all right.
I just can't say anything.
Yeah.
I have no poker face. I don't have a poker voice. I don't have anything.
See, it's a good thing we're not on camera. I'd be like, all right, Teresa, I know you know something's up.
Yeah. Well, of course I do. I've read it all.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and these books do not really have any weak entries. Because well, a couple were pretty that I didn't like that much, but Teresa loved them.
Yeah.
And the rest of them are not this thick at all. They're not even as thick as the Shanara books.
No.
So it becomes more and more manageable. So, but this book has an ending.
Yes.
It has a conclusion and everything, so you can stop right after Magician and just
Be none the wiser, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. However, there's two follow-up books, which ends kind of like a trilogy. You have Magician, and I think it's Silver Thorn and A Darkness at Sethanon. That's the so-called Rift War trilogy.
Yeah.
Even
So
though
you have like two places you could stop. You can stop at the end of Magician Apprentice and the end of Magician Master and be fine. And then, or if you say, okay, I want to finish the trilogy, you can finish the trilogy and stop and be perfectly fine. And then if you want to be insane like me, you can't stop, so you keep going. And then it's the rest of your life. But you have two chances to stop.
Well, actually, it hasn't taken you that far because you're more than halfway through the whole damn thing.
Yeah, it's been about a year, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a year, and you have not been reading these books all for that year.
No, because I took a break to read Dragonlance trilogy and the Dritz trilogy, and then I had like a master's thing I was working on. So yeah, I got interrupted by some other things, but it worked out.
Yeah, so there's a lot of books, but they're not that thick, except for the first one, and the last one is over 600 pages. But the Shannara book was longer than that, the first one.
Yeah.
And this series has a very satisfying conclusion.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're gonna read a big series and then, oh fuck, the author screwed it up. That does not happen with this.
Yeah, it almost ends too happy, but except obviously a lot of casualties along the way. Because it has to be, because we're in a war. That's
not necessarily a lot of casualties in this book.
No. I'm sorry, Rob. My fault. I'm still thinking about it as one book.
No, I mean the whole. There's not.
Well, we'll talk later.
Well, I can't correct you without spoiling.
Yeah, I was about ready to say, so never mind. But you're right. It's not as bad as you know what, which I still haven't forgiven Stieg for. That's like in book like 11, but you don't have to read it, Rennie. You don't want your heart torn in 500 pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want that. But all right, anything from the very beginning up to this point, Rennie?
Not not too much. You know, for me, I think these were far more interesting because we had some interesting characters, even though one of them at least was just a temporary introduction, but I still enjoyed it all the same. I think it's just setting something up. But I I see this going two different ways for Pug as far as the Tsurani go. I keep wanting to say tsunami. I can't help it. I have to fight the urge. And so as far as they go, I see them either seeing like potential in him and him learning from their sorcerer and becoming really great, or they think that, like he said, if you're too great, then you get killed. So either one of those I see potentially happening to him, but I'm going to go ahead and go with my instinct and choose option A. So I hope I'm right, but I don't know.
Yay.
So we'll see, but that's kind of the impression that I get. So I'm definitely not like with the first 9 chapters, I just had a very hard time getting into a lot of it, or a very hard time really just having a lot of the information stick with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to, I try to do the audiobooks along with the the actual physical or the reading, and I do not recommend. So chat, if you have the audiobook to this, get rid of it. It sucks.
Yeah,
So
it's so dry.
well, the guy's voice is so, I don't even know if I would call it ASMR. It's just boring. And there's not a lot of inflection he can do with it. And all the characters sound exactly the same. And so I don't recommend, and it takes you out of it. So just basically stick to the actual reading material. Like for me, it's easier to have like both the visual and, the listening together because it helps to retain. But I'd rather just read it like 3 times than to have to listen to that. So
The best audiobooks I've heard is the Wheel of Time ones.
Hmm.
Yeah, the a guy reads from the point of view from all the male characters, and a woman reads for the female ones.
Nice.
And both of them are they're doing a 10 out of 10 job.
See, I have the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings read by Andy Serkis, and I am really impressed how well he did with both sets of books. So I was just like, whoa, okay, that's pretty good.
Decades ago, they should have had Christopher Lee read the Lord of the Rings on audio.
That would have been amazing.
They had him read The Children of Hurin. I'm like, come on, people,
gosh.
think.
That's the wrong one to have Saruman read.
You have the Lord of the Rings right there. Have him do it. It's a win-win. But they never did.
Yeah. Well, the closest we get, I mean, we do have him with the Children of Hurin, and that's the best we can hope for. But yes, everything that you all have said. Well, look who it is! Someone from across the pond. Hello. And now I know from where you hail. Not too far from my home base in Pork City. Potato Revan, thank you for being here. Always great to see you. Who definitely speaks Irish better than me, at least with a better accent. See, everyone's saying hello. Yes, hello there. If you have not read these books, please go ahead and do so. And you can always come back and read these, read the book, and then listen to these later. Or you can catch up. You can catch up with us reading, because we only read them about 5 chapters at a time. But when I read it, I just plowed right through the whole thing. Yes, we have Jacob Ironside. Heck, yes, we have. Christopher Lee's heavy metal music.
He has he's done a horror metal Christmas album too, where he sings what is it, Jingle Hell?
Yes, Jingle Hell. I love it. I listened to it at Christmas time. And he won like best newcomer. I think he's the oldest best newcomer ever for like the heavy metal awards or something. It was great.
Yeah, he was close to 90 when he got it.
And he wore a leather jacket. It was cute.
Yeah, and he said he was gonna take the award home with him on his motorcycle, and steal a couple of heavy metal magazines and a case of Jägermeister.
Oh my
Hmm.
gosh.
Yeah, the whole crowd just went nuts.
Yeah, we love him.
Yeah.
May he rest in peace. But besides that, let me see. Yeah, it's so great to see you all here, and I just enjoy reading. Reading what we love, and it, there's so much good stuff out there. And I hope that those of you that come in and hear these, maybe it'll inspire you to read or look at my playlist and see what we've read so far. Or
Or to write your own.
true. Well, didn't you say, Jacob, in the chat? You said that you are writing a story. Yeah. I I'm going to be doing more writing, but I'm a nonfiction writer, so you won't be seeing any fiction out of me. But I stepped into it a little bit. I tiptoed because someone told me to tell my story of Star Wars around this May thing and what it means to me. And I was like, yeah, I forgot what it was like to write, and I was able to just write a little blurb on Twitter, just 3 tweets. It just reminded me. It's like, yeah, nonfiction's fun. That's my territory.
I liked your story. It was very genuine, but at the same time very touching. So I thought it
Well,
was cute.
yeah. Well, it came from the heart,
Yeah.
and from great sadness too. Um, though there's one part of it my mother told me I left out, which was all the cigarette smoke, because it was Ireland, 1983, and she
Oh,
said, "Did you remember all the cigarettes in that line?" And I'm like, I know. It's like all the smoke was everywhere. And it's like, yeah, and yeah, they smoked like chimneys, and you were allowed to smoke in cinemas. They didn't have smoking sections either, so it just depended if the person wanted to smoke. I don't know when they stopped that, to be honest. I know they don't now. I mean, you can't smoke anywhere inside in Ireland. No, you have to go outside. Even and everyone's out there in the freezing cold rain and stuff. But yeah, so nonfiction, that's my territory. But yes, a graphic novel, that's very nice, Jacob, because you know there's no law that says you've got to be some sort of elitist pain in the buttocks to write great literature, write great fiction, write great nonfiction. It's there for everybody.
The I saw one writer say that you don't have to be the best writer out there. You just have to be able to tell a story, and as long as you're entertaining, you've done half the battle right there.
Mhm.
Prose and all that stuff is just a tool.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, that's fair.
Potato Reverend says, "Oh my FG, I can still smell the smoke in the old Colmore's in Dublin and Waterford." Yes. If you've ever gone on Oliver Plunkett Street in Cork City, because they're not allowed to smoke in these pubs. So, and there's like a pub like every 3 doors. So everyone's smoking outside. So if you try to walk down the street, there's just this huge cloud of smoke. It's a very narrow street. And I'm like, it'd probably be healthier for humanity if you just let the smokers go inside, because I don't want all that smoke around me. Yeah. Sort of Poopa says, I'm going to write a book about what really happened when that blonde bitch Goldilocks home invaded those poor innocent bears.
Yeah, he's right. I
Damn.
noticed that too. Yeah, that little bitch just walked in, ate their food, slept around in their house, and like she owned it.
Broke furniture.
Yeah, what they should have done, the mama bear or something should have kind of disabled her by biting off a leg or something, and had the little one learn to to eat human flesh. Just
What the?
have her bleeding in the corner with one leg, and then shove the little one over.
I thought there was a version of the story where the bears eat Goldilocks or tear her to shreds. Am I wrong?
That's what it should have been.
Okay.
Bloody thief.
Don't
Oh
be
my,
going into people's houses and eating their food and sleeping in their beds. Rude.
Yeah.
oh my gosh. Well, okay. Now that we know this, sort of poopus, I'm putting this on you. It is your job to do this. Make it so.
Yeah. Use a lot of adjectives.
Oh, he goes, Stig's read my book.
I stand with the bears.
Even Cocaine Bear.
Yep.
Jeannie Mac.
That the Cocaine Bear was a movie I wanted to like, but it was just bad.
I wanted
That's-
to like it too, but it was, yeah.
Yeah, I
It was
heard it.
boring.
Yeah. We walked out in the middle of it.
They should have let you read it. All right, here we go. Potato Revan says, my granddad was banned from the pub in the middle for 59 years. Laugh out loud. He punched an old anti-treaty old dude. Did you see the state of Duke Street, Dublin has a Constancy street cleaner? Okay, I'm not entirely sure what that's referring to. I mean, I have seen the state of Dublin. Yeah, that's a state, all right. I didn't see it, says Snortopupus. And each character has several names. How anti-bear of you. Yeah, you guys are just terrible people. But I guess we never said we were good people.
It makes sense though. The big bears should have maimed Goldilocks, so she couldn't defend herself against a small one, whom they would definitely want to get used to human flesh and blood.
Well, and if they're like genuine bears, right? They could probably follow her scent to wherever she fled off to, or when they saw her in the bed, been like, all right, that's it. You going down.
Yeah, they should have followed her back to her family and killed them
Yeah.
too.
Oh my.
I'm gonna get you, your mama, your daddy.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
See how they like home invasion.
Oh gosh. First of all, I drink RC nut Coke and the real bear died. Oh gosh. Well, you know
She
what?
like gone home to her mom and gone like, "We're here for human flesh and honey, and you're no honey."
This just took a dark turn.
Yeah, just bite her in the face.
Well, you know what? Steek said,
And
right.
then have like
Everyone.
Goldilocks is still alive outside the home, and have the mama bear go, "This is happening because of you."
This is all your fault.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Inconsiderate hoe
Yeah.
bag.
You
Yeah.
will watch as we eat them.
Well, everyone listening, steal this idea. Steve doesn't need the money. Just you steal the idea and make a bestseller out of it. Snortopupus, you can do that. I give you permission because I'm the mistress of this stream. Looks like meat's back on the menu, boy. Thank you, Snortopupus. Oh my god, Keck! Oh gosh, Keck, you're great. Yeah, yeah, y'all are funny. So but yeah, and yeah, gee whiz, I don't, I don't talk about Bolshevik, so I'm not going to. But read what you want, buy what you want, spend money on what you want. I spend money on all those sons of bitches. Netflix, Disney, Hulu, no shame. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. We live in a free country.
Yeah.
Hell,
fair
even
enough.
give money to Wizards of the Coast if you want to.
No.
Steek just got triggered.
Well, I don't give money to I don't subscribe to any streaming service. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, but I'm just saying, yeah. So
firstly, I
I
don't want to. Secondly, I wouldn't be using it enough to justify whatever money I'm spending on it.
See, I use HBO Max a lot. I do pay for that one, but I get Hulu, ESPN, and Disney Plus with Verizon. I don't like Disney Star Wars, but that doesn't stop me from watching Disney classics on it that are actually decent. So,
Mhm.
you know what? You can like some things that are Disney without liking all of Disney. It is okay.
Yeah. Well, in general, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just goes for everything. Yeah. So if people think I'm offended by that idea, it's like, no, I actually spend more money than most people on these things. So there, or at least my family does. Because to be fair, you can share these things.
Oh, yeah.
Um, yeah.
Well, except for Netflix is going to stop that soon. Did you hear about that?
Well, that's their funeral then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's all I
I
really.
just hope they release Cobra Kai before that happens.
Oh yeah. Well, the stupid writers' strikes affecting, unfortunately, Cobra Kai.
Hmm.
The writers have said that, yeah. So that's just all I've got to say about that. The only thing that ever pisses me off is people being unkind and being rude, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
That's
Uh,
fair.
yeah. Period. Give me the meat and give me the meat and give it to me raw. Gizzards of the boast never. Hey, I know I might have triggered you all. Guess how many clucks I give? I mean, because I think that people have got to
Did
do
you
make their
did
own decisions according to their own conscience. Now that being said, I actually do not spend a penny on Wizards of the Coast. I
did you
really
watch the stream? Mara and I did. Uh,
about Wizards of the Coast.
yeah, one guy at
Yeah,
Wizards of the Coast had been accused by several women of, well, rape and stuff. And Wizards of the Coast, one guy at Wizards of the Coast, one of the honchos, doxed the ones who had complained about him to him.
mm-hmm.
Like, this is what these accusers are saying about you. And then later on, he got fired, and then they hired him to work for Magic the Gathering instead, which is by the same company. They just moved him to a different office.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So they doxed the victims to the rapist.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying they're not a crap company.
That's like epic level. And then they sent Pinkertons to a guy. You see that?
Oh yeah, yeah, they're evil. I mean, hey, I'm not saying they're good people.
No, it's
Uh,
just the tip of the iceberg.
yeah. Oh, I know, and of course, you know how I feel about the 5e, but you know what I mean. I have a hard enough time policing my own life, let alone anyone else's. Make sure you get some of the original versions of Blu-ray because you may alter. Yes, and that's actually the most important thing. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I will, for the most part, I try to get things on Blu-ray and all that. But I mean, I already have a religion, and I already have a pope. And that's all I got to say about that. Um, Evil. Am I evil? That's disgusting. Oh, they're evil. Okay, yeah. And actually, I don't think I've ever given a penny to Wizards of the Coast. I really don't. I've tried to monitor that one because out of all of them, I think they're worse than Disney. There's
Yeah,
been some.
they,
That's
they are.
my opinion. My opinion. Everybody, okay? Do what you want. I'm sorry, Steve. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying yes, they are. They actually are worse than
Yeah,
Disney.
they're human. Yeah. They're yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No. But here we are on YouTube. Look at all the awful people on YouTube. Yes, that is sick, but they did not create the classics. That is true. Yeah, Decon the Rat. Yeah. What do we have there? Um, yeah, I'll yap with you after the stream there, Rennie, because we're gonna talk all about you and how you're terrible people. Now, I have a rule. I have a rule. I don't ever talk about specific people on my stream unless they are here to defend themselves. So, like and I would invite them on the panel. But I don't like to talk about individual other people because I don't like people talking about me because I'm just a nice little flower. But some things in public, I think it's okay for me to say what my general opinion is, and and my general opinion about everything is charity, and charity in the sense of the definition of love, katitos from the Greek, love before all else. And if you don't have love, if you don't have charity, if you don't have kindness, what are we here for? Oh no, look what happened. How dare Potato Rabbit. You see? Yes, see? How dare you have an opinion? I'm unsubbing. It's about having to go have an opinion. Yes, yes, I know. Uh, what can I say? How's this? I don't know if this will trigger you or not, Potato Revan, but I have some memories from some of the boys in Cork, how they feel about cricket. I think cricket is crap. I don't know if that'll make you unsub, double unsub. Oh gosh, kick their butt. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
He's gonna poop out some fries for that. No, just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, cricket's crap. I mean, I'm sure it
Imagine
has
getting so angry that you're pooping his
Hey,
pants.
going to a baseball game wearing a Go Sports t-shirt. Oh my gosh. Why would you want to go to a baseball game? Baseball sucks. Oh, I'm triggering everyone now. Okay, I'm not going to ask how Steve knows this.
I don't. I was musing.
Right.
You see, that's a writer at work. Okay, Amber Heard got caught pooping on the street in Spain. Oh, did she?
I saw something about that. Yeah.
Gosh, can't the woman just go into a toilet?
Did you blame the dog again?
Well, I don't know. Have you guys seen some of the public restrooms they have in Europe?
Actually, yes, I have. You know, some of them in
Yeah.
France for the women are just holes in the ground.
That's exactly. I
Mhm.
remember when my mom took like a month-long trip, she sent me a picture of a French toilet and I was like, "What is this? It looks like a shower." She's like, "That's a toilet." I'm like, "What?" But it's just a hole in the ground. She's like, "Yep, that's a public toilet."
You got to aim well, and it's really hard to aim when you're a woman. I just want to tell you that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's pretty nasty. Well, on that happy note, I mean, I think. Well, actually, I don't think I've lost any subs, and I don't think we've lost many viewers with this discussion. So, okay. Today is Free Comic Book Day, so I'm going to be getting my buttocks over to the comic book store. I need to find one, and then I will. What am I going to do?
They're releasing the first of a new Conan series.
Yes,
You need to go get one too, Rennie.
yes, it is
Okay.
free.
Yeah,
if
it's
there's
free.
yeah, today's
Oh.
Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah, so then you can you have book one, right? Then
Mhm.
you can buy number 2 and 3 in the coming months. You can have like a have one day per month where you're just sitting down and enjoying a new comic, which you know,
Yeah.
like in the good old days.
Yeah, and I for I think that it's going to be free, and if it sucks, well, then I won't get more. You know, I'll be able to review it. But I think it'll be good because Conan so far, I'm completely stealing this from you, Stieg, and you're just going to have to live with it. Conan is the only, oh gosh, I'm being mean. It's the only franchise that we know of so far, or not franchise, maybe that's the wrong word, that has not been wokeified. It hasn't been touched by the weirdos.
Yeah, and ironically, it's the oldest one because it predates Tolkien,
That is true.
and it has a toxic male lead. You know,
Oh, toxic as F.
yeah, and somehow it's untouched.
Oh
That's
gosh.
bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I read that comment. I didn't even think about that. You're right. In Ireland, they don't have that big space underneath the door. It's like toilets in USA have large space in the door. It's like I'm pooping. Everyone can watch. And in 2020, these some, well, not real women. Oh gosh, there we go. There's my channel. Beat me. Okay. I've learned so much about human bodily functions today. Thank goodness I use a handy tundra or woods if there are any. Yeah.
Nice.
And what Steve just said. Yeah, and check out my sword and sorcery video because it it's
Oh, that reminds me of a story about a bear.
oh no.
It was a bear and a rabbit. They were sitting in the forest pooping, right? Next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And the bear asks the rabbit, "Hey, do you have a problem with, a poop sticking to your fur?" And the rabbit says, "Yes, it does that sometimes." So the bear grabbed the rabbit and wiped his ass with it.
I have no words.
That's the one that your nephew. Oh, never mind. I don't want to. Yeah, that's a good one. I told that to my nephew. I have this image in my head now, Steve.
Winnie the Pooh and the rabbit.
No, just of this poor rabbit. My mom
Having
went.
bear poop on himself.
Yeah.
And when the poor rabbit like can't do anything, the bear's like just picks up the rabbit, and the rabbit's like, ah!
Yeah.
My mom wants to go to Europe. I'm thinking after this discussion, are you sure you can handle the bathroom situations? Okay, here's the trick in Europe. You can use the restrooms in like a restaurant or something. If you're eating at a restaurant, you can use the restroom. So you time it so that that's where you pee, or you do it in your hotel. Those are nice. It's just can be the public ones. Snort Poopus says, it's true. Don't ask me how I know. Oh dear. Oh dear. I have this image of you out in the iceberg. Yeah, legend has it that Snortopupus is on the iceberg that took out the Titanic.
Oh no.
Yeah, I know. What a guy. He had a bird's eye view. Let's see. Good to know. I'll always make sure. Yeah. My gosh, they're making a racket outside. Or there are some nice public ones, but you have to like put money into them. Okay, Potato Revan says trip on Europe continent. Oh, tip, I think. Bring a funnel. LOL. Ireland and UK has American toilet. Netherlands has poop shelf. Okay, so if you're on the continent, bring a funnel.
Yeah. Well, we have regular toilets.
Yeah. Well, you guys are civilized. Sort of Poop says, I'm dangerous though. You might end up with a wild hair up your.
Oh my god.
We're digressing quite quickly, aren't we? Isn't this
Yes.
lovely? Well, actually, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this party because I'm going to go and get my comic. And Rennie and I think we're going to be on Dr. Brown. Not Dr. Brown. Yeah, Back to the
Doc Brown.
Future. Mr. Brown Alliance this evening, talking about The Godfather Part 2.
Yes. We're going to be we're going to be doing part 2 of the discussion about Godfather 2 on Mr. Brown Alliance at 4:30 p.m. Central. As soon as he sends out the link, we'll have it. Because I asked him earlier. He said, I'll send it later. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, send it to me too.
Yes,
I've already forgets.
I've already got a plan. Because last time he was like, oh, I thought you were sending it to her. I'm like, really, Brown? But yes,
Really, Brown? Really, Brown? Yeah.
That's what we'll be talking about.
I'm sitting there twiddling my thumbs by all great show. Well, I'm not so sure about that, Jake. Okay, I think it was a great show while we were talking about the book. Oh my gosh, my cat's gonna die.
Oh, crossing my fingers.
Sorry?
Nothing.
Oh, she's sitting on my lap and she was about to fall off. Run, Truth, run. Take care of every human. Yeah, every human and every feline. Steve, you got anything coming up?
No.
Okay. Yeah, if you do want to know about why Wizards of the Coast is garbage and the whole D&D thing about what's going on with these 5th editions, the live stream with Mara and Stieg from last Wednesday on Jade Shadow is a good one if you don't know. Potato Reverend says, God bless, and Rennie will tell you Italy don't exist. It's Spanish propaganda.
That is not true. I do not condone or verify anything that Potato Revan says.
Well, there you are. You heard it here first on Miss Martin Muses.
That's
So
right.
wait, we said about being on Brown. I'm going to be continuing with my sword and sorcery stuff. I'm going to do a biography of Robert E. Howard. I was able to visit his museum last weekend. That's where I was. So it's going to be a series. I plan to get it done and released on Friday. And of course, finishing up Magician Apprentice. This will be the last one that we will be doing as part of a series. That does not mean at all that we're not maybe going to do some reunion kind of things every now and then. But as far as this regular thing, we've been doing, what is it? Nearly 2 years now. So,
Well, we're still doing Magician Master
oh, yes. Yeah.
after
Oh, I'm sorry.
this one.
Thank you, Steve, for clarifying. Because I'm
Yeah,
still
so
thinking,
next time's not the last ever.
no, my fault. I'm still thinking about it as one book. And I keep getting messed up between that. Um, wow, they're hating each other. This is terrible. Yeah, what I meant was when we finish Magician Apprentice. I mean, dagnabbit, Magician, Magician Master.
Yeah.
That'll
This
be.
current book and one after that.
Thank you, Steve. See, Steve translates from me. Steve knows Teresian language. It's my own language.
No,
All right.
I just pay attention.
Oh my gosh.
No, it's the Downton Abbey, and you don't lie.
Yeah. Well,
Hey, Downton Abbey is not a bad show.
You see, look how defensive he gets about it.
I know.
Yeah, and he was really pissed off about not being invited to the reception for the coronation. Yeah, so, well, that's what happens when you're not even the spare.
Yep.
You're just, I don't know if they did it like on Game of Thrones, where the bastard sons are like Snow or whatever. What would it be if you were English?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
But in Game of Thrones, I'd probably be on the Iron Islands, wouldn't I?
Oh yeah, because of where you
Far
are
north and on, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe above that, probably Bear Island. I don't know.
Oh, shoot.
There
I
you go.
forget what those bastard names are. It's Snow, of course, sticks with me.
Sand,
But
snow, rivers, flowers.
Storm? Is there a Storm one?
Yeah, that's in
Or
the
no?
Stormlands.
Mhm.
Yeah. The Snow
we
and
know-
Storm stuck with me.
See, we know our bastards here on Miss
I'm
Martin.
gonna have to
uses.
check what a bastard from the Iron Islands, because that they haven't said it.
Are you sure?
I thought they did have it, and I can't remember, but I think when you find it, you'd be like, oh my gosh, that makes sense. I can't believe I forgot.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to end this party because a cat's going to die in a few seconds if I don't move. So have a great day, everyone. Have a great day, and be certain to bring your own funnel on continental Europe.